Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hi, great, great. All right. So my apologies for not the time issue.
No, that's all
Okay.
right. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
What was it? All right. So that's just right now Taiwan is on a holiday. It's called the Qingming holiday for ancestral worship, basically paying respect. So right, that's uh, so a bit chaotic. Okay, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
well, still like to do. So yeah, maybe we can jump right into it. Any wins
Yeah,
that you'd like to share?
I mean, if you're having a holiday, do you wanna finish the call? We can talk another time next week if you want.
Um, Maybe make it a brief call. I mean, I can still maybe chat for like maybe do a 15 minutes. I think that would still be
Brief.
helpful.
I don't know if I can be brief about anything.
No worries, no worries. All right, but really appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead. I love to hear your wins. And you're just back, right?
I'm just back in the chair, really. That's all there is to it.
Okay.
I've done. It's been really, I suppose, peak experience. Yeah, definitely. And then what else? I think, I think I just spent my time. I wasn't able to do any work really. Really difficult to do work. So I didn't pick this up once. So I've got no notes in there. Even last night, I mean, because it's still a bit jet lagged, and I just couldn't be bothered to do. I haven't done any AMP. I did the AMP calls, like the AMP goal, Friday, my pod group calls. But yeah, I didn't do any of that. I did one call for flow, and then I've done none of the flow work. So I'm really behind on a lot of the kind of the material.
So stay in the game. What's the gain and the win? Okay.
Yeah, no. But I mean, for all of that, I think the having said all of that, the gain is that I had time to myself and I had time to my family, and it was just interesting how reliant I am upon that kind of structure for getting things done. So it's only when you take something away do you truly appreciate what it is that you have. So, I say I haven't had that. I know that's all negative, but at the same token, what it's illustrating to me is it's the how reliant I am upon it all, and to move things forward. So it's really interesting. Again, you don't appreciate what you have until you stop having it. But then that draws into another question then as to what do I want then? What am I doing? Because if the training and the kind of process and all that kind of driven stuff to move forward is about, well, for what purpose is it? To enable me to get to a stage where I can do what? And I think that's really interesting, because I would say that the ideal is that I am able to go to places like Bali. So, okay, next place I want to go to is Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia. I want to go to those places. I have always wanted to go to those places since I was a kid. But to do that in the manner that I'm accustomed to now, and to do it without any kind of concern about what it's going to cost me, that's a different thing. And I think, but this is all pleasure. This is all just, there's no meaning behind it. But it's making me question what the heck it is I'm getting up to, really. Because if I'm working really hard to afford to do all of these things, for what? So that I can the actual process of working hard is the enjoyment, really. I find that entertaining and engaging. And then when I earn the time to have off and relax and enjoy myself, I'm kind of like, I'm lost, because I haven't got all of that structure and that hard work going on. And I'm kind of going, what do I do? What do I do? It's all good and well saying, well, I'm having a peak experience. So yeah, I'm recovering. Well, but in the back of my mind, it's always going, It's the
Yeah,
weird.
great, great, great.
I
think
don't know.
that's a fantastic win, actually. I think what I heard is that you're starting to kind of think about what's the end and what's the means, right? Kind of like what's the actual purpose, the ends here, and what are the means? What's the end goal? What's the means goal? And when you're really at the stage when you can have time, you can have time with family, you can have pleasure, right? You can have like time for yourself. Are you comfortable with that? Right?
Not really.
So yeah, but that's great. I think that's great to reflect. All right, so yeah, I guess I don't really have much feedback other than why we call Richard Branson. I think he described he is living his work and he's working his life. I mean, he's kind of like life, like work and play for him is one and the same thing, right? He's playing, he's having fun when he's doing work, and likewise when he's having fun, he's also fantastically, effectively very productive. So I guess that's another, I think, another stage, right? Where right when it becomes one and when the end and the means are actually the same, right? Okay. Like if you see, I don't know, there are some Zen master, like they can take 1 hour to have one cup of tea for 1 hour.
Be a bit cold, wouldn't it? Part of the joy of drinking tea is because it's hot.
And then you start to question, like, what the hell you're taking 1 hour to have one cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
For them, that's not to get anywhere. That is the end, right? The main is the end. The end is the main. I guess for someone who's already at that level, right? So I don't know, just something that kind of caught my
Yeah,
attention
it's
when
interesting.
so okay.
I think
All right.
I think the interesting thing is the observation that I made was when I was there is I just didn't want to do anything. I had
Okay.
no desire to do any work. I just couldn't be bothered. I really did just shut down. And that was really odd because I've spent so many, like honestly, for coming up to 3 years, I've been writing in one of these every bloody day. And everything's been geared around, well, how do you improve the process?
Okay.
And it was
Right.
just, I didn't want to do anything.
Okay.
Didn't want to do nothing.
All right. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. So Mike, I'm actually low on my battery. That's a forcing function. So I'll also share my win. Okay. So obviously I'm, right now family vacation time. Um, what I realized is that over the years, and I have been being very effective, I guess, in the morning routine. It's vacation time. It's time with family, but I think I still get some really important things to done. For example, like the ascender accelerator, just another basically proposal idea, how to work with Draper University. Just throw that out and see, try to see whether that will start something. If everything goes well, there could be an impact accelerator that's running up and running within 6 months. Okay, instead of 10 years. Okay, so
Well,
and we might have a great customer for JCF's wealth platform. So that's one thing.
well,
The other
well.
thing is I guess more personally, what I'm also realizing is that time, time for reflection for self. For example, the time after waking up, doing my jogging. Also, just I guess spending quality times with family members, even when they're having arguments. Okay, even when there's like heated debates, even when there's like emotional turbulence. I am surprisingly finding myself to be an observer, both for other people, but also for my own emotion, and also sort of just try to really just enjoy the process. realizing that this is part of the journey as we grow and become wiser, more experienced, right? Like it's, peak and valleys. It's really just one and the same. And right, how you're seeing things, what your attitude is towards these things. I mean, previously I would get upset over certain things, but now I think it's just becoming kind of, I then talk about coming back as his 20-year, right, like future self into the past and seeing the present moment, right, as something that he would definitely value and treasure if he's like 20 years older future self. And
Yeah.
I have that kind of flashback moments, from time to time during this vacation actually, and I found that interesting because what I'm realizing is that we're not just living our current life. We're actually, if you choose, you can also live both your past life, almost self, and also your future self at the same time. Okay. So yeah, so this is something that yeah, okay, that's something I really
It's a
kind
bit
of
deep.
enjoy. Yeah.
It's a bit
Yeah.
deep for
No,
15 minutes.
Okay. But I guess my takeaway is that life is really a gift, and I think if we can really treat every single moment, every minute as that, then you will have a surprisingly fulfilled life, regardless of what's actually happening, what you're doing, right?
Mm,
The good and
mm,
bad. Yeah, I think
mm.
that's my win. All right. So, is there one thing you like to discuss about JCF, or
Yeah, look, I tell you what, I did try finding the US dollar account for the notification, but the only notification I could find from Poet was for the contract and then obviously the invoice, but nothing on there that I could spot when I was searching for it was just the dollar account, So I
oh,
mean,
I see.
even if I just need the account number, the sort code, the IBAN, whatever, just that detail, and then I'll send $2,000 to that account. The name of the account, the account details. I just need those crucial bits of information. As soon as I got that, I'll make a transfer, because obviously I can see that the dialogue there.
Okay.
I have looked for it. I wasn't able to find it. That might be my problem. But if I just have the real simple account
Okay. Okay.
information.
I think you have access to the JCF info Google Sheet as well. Okay, just go to your Google Drive, JCF info. Okay, I think the first tab there will be the accounts, both the NTD also USDT accounts. Okay, so just see if that's the one you're looking for. All right, but I think I will ask Troy to double check, confirm the account, with you. All right. I think that's yeah, but you should have access to that as well. It's in the JCF info. There's, I think, just the first tab is like the company info thing.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Okay.
just trying to find yeah, I'm trying to find where that might be.
Okay. All right. So all right. So maybe I'll share a bit of what I like to discuss. Okay, or something maybe to let you aware. Okay. So I think swim lane. Maybe we'll find another time to jump to that, right? For the free hack.
Are we doing
Regarding how
tomorrow?
I think right now yeah, depending on your schedule, I think we're thinking to switch to Thursday, right? Is that right?
Oh, at 9:30. Yeah. Or nine. What is it? 9 o'clock.
That would be 9:30 if that's okay for you.
Right. Okay. So in my calendar, I've got 9 o'clock on Monday and 9 o'clock on Thursday.
Okay, so I think we haven't changed. Yeah, because I want to get your confirmation whether it's okay to move the texting to the same time to
Yeah.
okay,
Sure.
and maybe we can have an hour later. But if you like to get on to know things about the development side, you can join at 9 as well.
Oh, I
Okay,
see.
so
Right. Okay.
if there are like specific things you'd like to know, but otherwise we can start at 9:30 your time. Would that be all right? On Monday and
Yeah,
Thursday.
of course. Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
There'll be
So,
so will Poet change the diary so that it's there?
yes, I think I'll ask her to change that. Okay. Yeah. I mean, after this conversation. So the other thing is about how to become inclusive in terms of our, like Andrew and other, our other people who could be participating. And I'm
Sure.
actually thinking about leveraging the wealth system to issue tokens, essentially our company token in a sense. And then, so the idea is that, use that as a form of salary, right? So we provide tokens as a form of salary, and that is basically future cash, right? If JCF takes off, if, becomes successful, if we have profits and we're sharing it, the tokens will be valuable, right? They will be assets back, but then also they could have a value of its own, public exchange system or decentralized exchange. So my thinking is that maybe we should start to issue tokens for for people's participation, right? Other than paying them cash, as we currently do, right? And we can also be flexible in terms of maybe a portion of that is that cash, the other is tokens. And to be honest, I think this is how a blockchain company, or in fact any future company, should really be run, right? I mean, given
No, that's true. And that's true. And I think my experience with other cryptos is that there's been a combination of that. Some have paid with USD, some have paid with their own currency, and some have paid, but most of them have paid in dollars. So,
right.
Because ironically, the people that are working for the crypto company don't trust the currency,
Right.
because it's too volatile, and so they take the dollars, and then they take extraordinary. So, for instance, when I was working with the Coco, they offered me 400,000 tokens, which seems like a lot. Which at $7 a token, yeah, that's quite a lot of money. But at the moment, it's 0.01, right? So it's a penny.
Okay.
So it's worthless, really. So so 400,000 pence, it's not a lot of money, is it? Really? I mean, it's something, but and so I think that. Yeah, I think you're right. We should. I think it would be a lot easier if you were paying in Bitcoin, which has a value, or you were paying in USDT, which has a value, or at some point when we established that JCF Wealth tokens actually have a value, then that's when we can use them as true payment. I think you would find it hard for anybody to take upon that unless you're paying them extraordinary amounts. If you were to say, well, all right, you can have a salary of $1,000 per month, for example, or you can have a salary of 100,000 tokens, per month. Well, then they've still got to work for a month for free, because those 100,000 tokens are worthless. Yet what they would be banking on is that, and you'd also need to illustrate when those tokens will become valuable.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yes.
Otherwise, otherwise, if we don't show the value, then it's just a matter of, well, this is just pie in the sky.
Exactly. I guess my point is being, we want to provide people, right, especially that's joining now and who are maybe working more as a partner than an employee, right? Some form of, compensation, right? Some kind of, that will be of value.
Yeah. So, but for instance, it kind of depends on what each person wants, right? So, Nick was quite clear. He was quite happy to take a percentage at some point in the future when the money's there. Andrew, does he want ownership where he can call himself an owner? Because if he wants that, his motivation is what? Is his motivation that he has enough money so that he doesn't have to do anything else? Or is his motivation because he actually wants to build up the organization on an ongoing basis? And I think that's actually quite an important question to ask. I know what my answer is to that question. It's because I want to build something which is going to have longevity over a long period of time, and some form of legacy. So when we're all in dust in the ground, then there's something still continuing to happen with it. That would be ideal. Yes, of course I want to have lots of money. Yes, of course I want to be able to live a nice lifestyle. Yes, of course I want profit, etc., etc., etc. But the motivation is about what is it we're bringing to humanity? What is it that we're bringing to in that context, and how are we serving? And so that's why ownership is important to me, is because I'm having an absolute fundamental impact on that, and it's retaining my goals. So ownership for me is about owning more than just the voting rights and the kind of underlying, or the overall profit and all that kind of stuff. It's about having an impact, and that's what I think is important. So does the person in particular just want to share some of the huge profits, and that's where they're motivated about, or do they actually want to be a part of something? Because that involves sacrifice.
Right.
So you and I are sacrificing things, right? So we're either sacrificing time or money, right? Maybe both. We're still at the moment that there's nothing, as far as I can see, there's nothing coming out for me.
Right. Exactly. It's still investment. It's still putting in, right? It's still putting stuff in. Yeah.
So now, if I sit there and say to you, if it would be a different conversation if I was saying to you, okay, Shunyan, that's fine. I'm giving you 10 hours a month or 10 hours a week or whatever it is, right? What are you giving me back in return? Now, if you're then sitting there saying, well, Mike, I can give you, 50,000 tokens, or I'll give you 1% of whatever it is, 1% of the next, the next 50 million or whatever.
Yeah, apologies. I do want to get to a more important point. So I guess a crucial question is, are we looking for people? I guess the question is, are we looking for really aligned, high caliber, value, mission driven kind of partners at this point, right? Obviously,
it depends on what we're defining as partner, right? It depends on what we're defining as
okay. So yeah, Mike. So I guess the reason why I want to point out is, I think there is a fine balance between growth and also culture, right? Okay. Hold on a sec.
Sorry?
Hold on a sec. Sorry. Hold on. Sorry about
hello.
that. Yeah, the phone battery died out. Okay, I'm switching to another phone. Okay,
Okay,
so
cool.
all right. So I guess just to kind of conclude the point. Oh, oh, okay. All right. I think. All right. I think the issue right now is you know, like for example with Andrew, like how we want to work with Andrew, for example, right? In a, I guess, both a practical, sensible manner. And if you agree that maybe providing tokens is the way, or I don't know if having clarity about his intent is something that maybe of more, you know, importance, value, then what I would suggest is, you know, have a call, right? You know, maybe have a joint call with Andrew on this. But also, I guess just from a practical point of view, um, how you know how we judge people's intention, I think it's also you know it can be a blurry art. You know, like we have our own calls or our own judgment for sure, but I think it's also you know not something that's very clear, and you know sometimes it does take time, right? Time and some co-working together in order to discover someone's true
I
intent.
know, I agree, but okay, so I mean, the difference is you've known him longer than in this particular example. You've known him longer than you've known me. In this particular example, you've worked with him in a number of iterations of JCF prior to me. I get that, and then therefore you have a better understanding of him. Also, you're thinking, well, I don't know whether or not he's going to be satisfied with tokens. Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you asked him. Do you know that, or is it an assumption that you've made? I'm just thinking. Generally speaking, most people will not go with tokens. Look at Ian. What's his name? Right? He wanted 3 Ethereum. No, he wanted $6,000 and whatever the percentage was. What? No, 3 Ethereum and 6% or something. Right? Not unlimited tokens from JCF Wealth. He wasn't interested.
I see your point. But then you can also, you know, if we are offering just token, that could be a test, right, for that person's intent as well, right?
I agree. It could be, and you know, I think I find it frustrating because I don't know him well enough to be able to make a judgment call on him.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's. I know. Do you know what? I can tell you straight away. I right from the very get-go, Nick, whatever his name was, I didn't feel that he had any time for me personally. I just got a sense that he didn't like me. Right. That was a chemical reaction. Right. Andrew, nothing like that at all. Amenable, nice guy, a bit calculated, but you know, he clearly was frustrated with JCF because he wanted to see it somewhere where it isn't.
Right.
But you know, he wanted to be a part of it, and so. But what I don't know is that there's a number of different things that we're playing with here in terms of different ideas, and I think what we need to be clear upon is what are our, you know, standard kind of operational ideas.
Right.
What do I mean?
Exactly. That's what I'm getting to. That is exactly what I'm getting to. I think we want an SOP in terms of onboarding people at different levels of involvement, right? If we're too exclusive, the team will not grow. We will not be able to rely on who and how. If we're too inclusive or too, you know, not careful, you know, we may not be able to build the culture, the organization we want.
I think
there is a balance. Okay. Yeah, but Mike, apologies. I think I do have to, you know, continue right now. So I guess the thing maybe to do is on this topic, I suggest maybe we create proposals, okay, and then, you know, like how to best do this, and then, you know, maybe we can sync and merge how we would like to formulate an SOP kind of for any kind of form of collaboration or in terms of the team members, right? And I guess how about this? This is my proposal, right? That maybe we should just focus on what to do. I guess because again, I think we do want to leverage, but also I fully get it that you have the concern of right. We want to be fair on both parties and also be the buyer. So would that be all right?
Yeah, I don't, would what be all right? That we just generate proposals on what we think is the right way forward?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yes. I also like to know like what's your thinking, right? Behind what because from my perspective, we probably want the who can help us to get funding in terms of application or funding sources, right? And if none of us is right now able to spend capacity of time or brain power on that, maybe having a who is a good way at least to move forward.
I agree. I think your who's though, so far our who's have varied from Ian all the way through to Andrew, and I think that they're very different people with very different capabilities, and and making an offer to Ian that was below his kind of he had his benchmark there, and we made the offer made to him was here. He was just disinterested, right?
Right. Okay.
So regardless of what the standing operating process is, that comes into that is somebody's capacity, their skill, and then their benchmark of what they're willing to take to accept for that. And then you've got a difference there in terms of people. For instance, you're saying if you're suggesting in this instance, regardless of what the remuneration is, Andrew is a who for creating funding. Right. What is his skill set, his capacity, his experience in doing that? And at present, my understanding is he hasn't had that experience. Now I might be wrong, and you could tell me that I'm wrong. Whereas Ian was clearly experienced within the crypto, market. So, and I get and look, but by all means, if we're talking about a percentage of profit share or something like that, if Andrew brings in $50 million, I don't care if he gets a percentage of that. I'm quite happy for him, a reasonable amount.
Okay.
That's fine. He gets in $1 million.
Right. Okay.
It still puts us in a much better position. Okay. So what is our purpose for this?
Right. Okay, I see. Okay, so capability, experience, and also offering, right? I think those things.
Yeah, it's all gonna impact on what we offer, right? Ian only wanted 3 Ethereum and 6%. That was it. He walks away after that.
Right. Okay. All right. So yeah, Mike. All right. So thanks for sharing. Okay. I think I definitely want to think more about this, okay, in terms of what might be a plan. But I also would suggest maybe you can also think of, is there a some mechanism that will make sense for you, okay, in terms of something you think is reasonable, right? Because I think this is something, yeah, I mean, it's a who not how question, and also, but also I think it's also a something of practical, execution. All right, so apologies, I think I probably will have to go, and yeah. So you think this Thursday 9:30 would that work?
Yeah, that's plenty good. That's good.
Okay, all right, okay. So talk then, and I think meanwhile, I think if I do have an impact filter, I will send you earlier. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and actually, the other important thing is we need to get a proposal sorted for El Salvador, because
right. Okay, right.
If you think about it in that perspective, let's assume that they like what we do and what we can offer.
Right. Okay.
If they've invested 200 million in Bitcoin, even if they gave us a small percentage of that, it's still a significant amount of money. And what would that do for us?
Okay, I see. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Take care. Take care. All right.
All right.
So talk.
Have a good one. Take care.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.